Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Karen. I'm a compulsive eater, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I commit them to my sponsor. I don't eat between meals, and if I live and die on day one, I have one. 9/5/21 is my abstinence date. I've had a number of day ones. I started in gray sheet in 2003, and this is a picture from then. I was actually not at my highest, that's for sure, but definitely was chubby for sure. um, and it was actually right around that time. That was in May of 2003, and I got abstinent in I want to say like August 2003. So it was right in that area. And I had actually lost about 33 pounds before before August, because I was following some food plan, which on a step study I did, I had done 33 different food programs at different times in my life. Food's always been an issue for me. And I always start out great and end up fat. So it was pretty predictable, quite frankly. And by August of 2003, I had pretty much given up. And I remember sitting in my car in front of where I worked, and I said to God, I don't even want to ask for help because I have failed so many times. I just don't want to try again. But it was very warm in Portland, and I was wearing a black tent kind of out dress. And I was so discouraged because once again, I had started eating again. And how I ate was massive amounts of food until I was so sick that I couldn't eat anymore, but I could. It was a weird dynamic. It wasn't even, there was no enjoyment. It was just eating. And I usually ate in secret. Rarely did I never ate like I like to eat in front of people ever. And I never threw up. I think I tried to once or twice, but yeah, it didn't work for me. But I was definitely, and I sure wasn't an exercise bulimic, I'll tell you that. That's for sure. I remember sponsoring somebody that was anorexic, and she like would have like three little tiny red things instead of anyway, it was just, wow, that was just not me. I was like, bigger the better and no more, and as fast as you can, and if I ate it, it was mine. So anyway, that morning I went into work, and a gal I used to work with walked into my work, and she had lost weight. I didn't like her that much. Matter of fact, I didn't like her at all. But she had lost weight, so now we were BFFs. So she came in. I didn't like her for good reason. I just don't not like people. There's always a purpose behind my dislike, which I'm sure you're all relieved to know. I asked her about what she was doing, and she said she was doing Gray Sheet, and that it was a 12-step program, and that is the only reason I was interested. If it had been another program, another this, another that, I wouldn't have done it. But she said it was a 12-step program, because I'd done OA, of course. Every fat person practically has gone to OA. And everybody was fat there, so I didn't quite get the point. But not everybody, but most people, not like these rooms where people aren't. And F is the bad F word. You know, it's not what everybody thinks it is. I can live with that word easier than the I'm fat. So I started the next day, and within a very short period of time, and I already knew that grains and sugar were not my friend, but I always added back healthy grains. And when I had brought those back in, I might not binge quite as fast, but I eventually binged. And I stayed abstinent I had one day one, and then I was abstinent. And I don't know the exact number of years, but I want to say it was somewhere between 6 and 8. And then I decided that Gray Sheet wasn't doing enough step work. And so I found, which could be true. I don't know. You know, I mean, they don't do it like I had to in AA, that's for sure. But okay. But the problem is that the programs, the 12-step programs that use the steps oftentimes don't offer the clear direction on my food. And this particular program, they ate in moderation, which of course worked there was 12 of us, and it worked for 10 of the women. And it really did. They ate in moderation. They ate all substances in moderation. Myself and another gal could not do that. And so I was actually just a few pounds away from where I am now, which was my lowest in Gray Sheet. And within a very short period of time, I ballooned right up to this, and gained 135 pounds. And it was really bad. And I couldn't stop. Once I started, I couldn't stop. That's just the kind of eater I am. And so that went on for 2.5 years. I got very sick during that time. I had a bleed that was going on. They couldn't quite figure out what it was. It was not into my organs. It was into my external cavities. And I bled out twice before they figured out. My hemoglobin was 5 a couple of times. I had a lot of blood transfusions. I was ambulanced. It was really an awful time. Luckily, I had a really good GI doc who persevered, and they finally did surgery. During the surgery, I coded on the table and I coded in the recovery room. And the doctor told me my stomach was so huge. I have a picture of it. I don't show it because it's gross, because it has my incision, and because I was cut from stem to stern. God, I was so very sick. I felt like I was 300 years old. I could work an hour, sleep an hour. My CEO would let me do that. I mean, I was that depleted. And I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And during that time, he had told me to not eat anything but what they gave me, because it could rupture the repair that they had done. And that was fine when I couldn't get out of bed and move. But once I could get out of bed, I'll never forget this as long as I live. That's why I say if I live and die on day one, I have won. It doesn't matter how many days ones you have. I don't give two shits, really. What is important is that you don't leave, because that leaving almost killed me. And I was walking in that hospital with my walker and my IV like a little old lady, and finding food to eat and eating it as fast as I could, knowing, with tears running down my face, knowing that it could rupture that surgery. And I couldn't stop. I was the VP of a company. I was very successful in my career. I was clean and sober for, I think then 30 years or something, 35 maybe, because I got 42, somewhere, so it was 2012-ish. I'm so horrible on dates. But I couldn't stop eating. And even the person that was working with me in that other program told me I needed to do something different because she couldn't help me anymore. This was the day before that surgery. And little did I know that days later they would be resuscitating me. I mean, I just didn't know. So I got out of the hospital, and I'd like to say I got back into Gray Sheet right away. They told Lisa, I remember Dr. McVie telling Lisa, because he knew me as an abstinent person. He didn't know me huge, which I had been huge my whole life. But when he started working with me, I wasn't. And he said, they couldn't even do laparoscopic surgery because there was so much visceral fat around my organs. So that's why they had to end up cutting me from stem to stern. And boy, that was such a horrible time. It took me a year to gain my strength back. And by October of that year, I got back into Gray Sheet. It was when I was working the steps. Thanks, Laura. I was working the steps with a gal, and she said to me, "You need to go back to Gray Sheet." And I got off that meeting. It was a Tuesday night, and it was only phone meetings then that I knew about anyway. And I went to the Back to Basics Tuesday night meeting, and with people I knew on there. Several people kept in contact with me during that time, which I will be forever grateful for. There was no judgment. It was just, I'm sure it was very painful and scary. When I see people relapse, it scares me because I don't have any delusions of my wonderfulness, I'll tell you. You know, I can go south really fast. As a matter of fact, I'm on the verge of south this last couple months. So, so anyway, I got back into Gray Sheet. I've had a number of day ones since then, but I've never left, and I've never deviated from the food program. But I just get self-will run riot. I'm just a self-will run riot kind of gal, and but I just don't eat. I just don't leave. So what's going on now is I have my little Penny Lane is that's why I was trying to get her to take her stinking pills because she's on as many pills for her heart as I am on for mine. And she did take them because otherwise she buries them and then I can't find them or one of the other dogs eats them. But so what's happened is, and we had a big leak at our house. January, I was diagnosed with big blockages in my heart. There's just been a lot this year, and I don't think I've ever been as depressed as I am right now. I just and I'm not even sure why exactly. I know the chaos in this house with the thing that needs to be fixed. I don't do good with chaos. I grew up in it, and I just don't do good in it. I'm having a hard time staying motivated. And I don't get, I don't disappear. I get cranky. And I'm not sure what it is, but if it's not better I've decided if it's not better by Friday, then I'm going to talk to my doctor and probably get on something because this place that I'm in is not a good place. So what does that mean for my abstinence? I can't say I haven't thought about eating. It scares me. So I haven't, but I can't say I haven't thought about it. I don't feel all recovered. I do not have any, like I've said, I have no delusions about how fast I can go down the drain because I've done it not just with the food, but with many things in my life. I've blown my life up many times. So I'll turn 75 on Monday. I don't particularly feel bad about that. I thought I'd be dead at 30. So, you know, I think it's all golden after that. My health is actually doing very well. That's what's confusing to me because I see it's almost 1 minute, Laura, because everything's going, there's nothing wrong is part of what I keep saying to myself, but everything feels wrong. It's so odd. I don't even know how to explain it. So, like I said, if I'm not feeling better by the end of this coming week, then I'm going to get a hold of my doc and see what we can do. Because I'm not into suffering, never have been. Obviously, I've done drugs and eat like a pig, so no, I don't suffer. And I follow directions once they give it to me. So I know that sounds kind of like not a perfect qualification, I guess, because it's not all recovered and everything, but I am who I am. And I quit hiding that years ago. And luckily, I stay with my core people. I stay connected. And thank God for that, because I know for me that if I disconnect, and how I do that first is in my mind, I fault find. That's how it always starts. And I'm not doing that. So I'm abstinent. I'm grateful. I'm glad to be here. I'm the skinniest I've ever been, and that hasn't taken my depression away. Just saying, just so you know that fat less is not the cure for depression. So I'm happy to be here no matter what.